Look like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to a new one. Guys, for this,
Sue Bird just had a public meltdown that absolutely no one saw coming. And it all started after Caitlin Clark allegedly told Team USA officials that she's done if they won't let her wear her iconic number 22. The moment those words leaked, Sue's reaction sent shockwaves through the entire basketball world. Now, the managing director of Team USA is scrambling to contain the fallout, but the situation is spiraling out of control faster than anyone expected. What began as a dispute over a jersey number is quickly turning into one of the biggest crises women's basketball has faced in years. But before we break down Sue Bird's explosive response and what Caitlin allegedly said behind closed doors, I want to hear from you. If you were Caitlin, would you walk away from Team USA over a number? Because what's happening right now might change the future of USA basketball forever.
because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA. And not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article has
Team USA basketball may have just triggered the biggest self-inflicted crisis women's basketball has seen in years. And the wild part? They did it to themselves. They forced Caitlin Clark, the undisputed face of the sport right now, to give up her iconic number 22 for the December training camp. And according to sources close to the situation, Caitlin's response was basically, "If I can't wear my number, I'm not coming." Now Sue Bird, the managing director of Team USA, is reportedly losing her mind behind the scenes, scrambling to understand how something as small as a number just exploded into a full-blown disaster. Let's be crystal clear. This isn't just a number change. To many, this is a calculated act of disrespect toward the one player who has single-handedly brought millions of new eyes to the sport. We're talking about an athlete whose name is arguably bigger than the league itself, being told that the symbol she's built her entire brand around must be left behind. And fans, analysts, and everyone in between are now asking the same question. Does Team USA even understand what they have in Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd, so it's what I went with when I was about 5 years old.
The bombshell dropped just days before Team USA's critical training camp in North Carolina, scheduled for December 12th through the 14th. What was supposed to be a celebration of elite talent, featuring stars like Paige Buchers, Juju Watkins, and more, has now turned into the epicenter of one of the strangest controversies women's basketball has ever seen. Instead of excitement, the camp is being overshadowed by the possibility that the biggest name in the sport might refuse to participate altogether. Reports began surfacing, revealing a shocking mandate that would strip Caitlin Clark of the number that has become inseparable from her identity, her legendary, record-breaking college career, and her dominant rise in the WNBA. And the timing couldn't be more baffling. This decision lands right as her fame is erupting on a global level, only intensifying the anger of her massive, fiercely loyal fan base. Now, those supporters are urging Caitlin to stand her ground, to refuse to compromise on something so fundamental to her image, her brand, and everything she's built.
To be made, the Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There is no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number for any woman athlete in.
She has become so synonymous with the number 22 that it mirrors the way Michael Jordan is eternally tied to 23 or Wayne Gretzky to 99. To demand a number change at this stage of her career feels less like a logistical decision and more like a deliberate attempt to weaken the powerful bond she's built with her global audience. It's a perplexing, head-scratching move that leaves everyone asking the same question. What could possibly be the motivation? Unless, of course, the motivation is exactly what it appears to be, an attempt to reassert control over a player who has, unquestionably, become bigger than the organization itself. And here's what makes this even more infuriating for Caitlin's fans. This isn't the first time USA basketball has seemingly undervalued her unprecedented impact on the sport. Remember earlier this year, when she was conspicuously, and almost shockingly, snubbed from the Olympic roster? That omission stunned the sports world, especially considering her global star power and the massive television audiences she consistently delivers. That decision alone raised eyebrows. Now, paired with this latest controversy, a pattern is beginning to emerge, one that fuels intense speculation about whether there's a deeper, more complicated agenda behind the scenes. Perhaps a reluctance within the organization to fully embrace the revolutionary game-changer Caitlin Clark so clearly is.
We're number 17 at Team USA training camp. On December 24th, news broke that Caitlin Clark will be taking a part in the training, which that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. Now, this right here this came out this came out on the 24th. So these are the numbers, man. Let's head on over to Twitter and check this out real quick. So this is what was released right here. It says Lauren Betts. Hold on, here's the ages. Where's the number? Here we go, right here. So these are the numbers. Caitlin Clark. Let me blow this all the way up, man. I want to blow this all the way up so y'all can see this. So as y'all can see there, man, how did Caitlin Clark number will be changed? So who's wearing 22? Or if you guys remember, Michael Jordan wore number 45 in the Olympics. Caitlin, because it don't look like no one's wearing number 22. It don't look like no one's wearing number 20.
Because when you lay out the facts, none of this adds up, unless you consider the possibility that Team USA may actually feel threatened by just how powerful Caitlin Clark has become. So what number were they trying to force her into? According to official reports, Caitlin Clark was assigned number 17 for the upcoming USA training camp. 17, a number with no connection to her identity, no history, no legacy. Its only real significance being that it is emphatically not number 22. And that's where things get interesting. This forced change, especially given the enormous brand value she brings, raises a long list of uncomfortable questions. Is this a deliberate power move? A way for the organization to remind her who holds the authority? Or is it just an out-of-touch, tone-deaf decision from officials who completely fail to grasp the cultural weight of the brand she's already built? Either way, the message being sent to Clark feels painfully clear. We're in charge, and your popularity doesn't give you special treatment. And according to reports, Caitlin's response was essentially, then I don't need to be here. But here's the part that has her supporters absolutely furious. A stunning revelation confirmed that no one, and I mean absolutely no one, on the Team USA training camp roster will be wearing number 22. Let that sink in. The number wasn't claimed by a veteran. It wasn't reserved. It wasn't tied up by tradition or hierarchy. It's just sitting there, empty, unused, available. And that single detail completely flips the narrative. What could have been chalked up to a simple roster conflict or an innocent logistical oversight now feels like something far more deliberate, an unmistakable, targeted act of perceived disrespect. What this really feels like is blatant marginalization against the most impactful and popular player of her entire generation. Because if nobody else is wearing number 22, then why force Caitlin to change? The logic simply doesn't exist. The justification collapses instantly. And that's exactly why Caitlin allegedly drew her line in the sand. Now Sue Bird is dealing with the fallout. As the managing director of Team USA Basketball, Sue is responsible for building the program's future. She handpicked the players for this training camp. She's supposed to be guiding the next era of American dominance. Instead, she's trapped in a crisis entirely of Team USA's own creation. Because forcing your biggest star to compromise on something so central to her identity was always destined to explode. Sue Bird's reported reaction has ranged from frustrated to panicked. Sources say she's been scrambling behind the scenes, desperately trying to find a way to keep Caitlin on board without completely undermining whatever arbitrary policy caused this disaster in the first place. But here's the truth. Caitlin holds all the cards. She does not need Team USA. Team USA desperately, undeniably needs her. Think about it. Caitlin is already a champion. She's already broken records. She's already transformed the sport. She's already the most marketable star in women's basketball. What exactly does she gain from joining Team USA if it comes at the cost of her brand and her respect? Olympic glory? She can live without it. International experience? She's already proven herself at every level. The honor of representing her country? That honor starts to dim when the federation treats you like you're disposable. Meanwhile, what does Team USA lose if Caitlin refuses to participate? Everything. They lose their biggest draw. They lose the one player who brings mainstream attention to the sport. They lose the athlete who fills arenas, spikes ratings, trends globally, and brings in new FA. Sue Bird knows this. That's why she's reportedly unraveling behind the scenes. This situation exposes just how little leverage Team USA truly has when dealing with a star of Caitlin's magnitude. And this controversy is bigger than one player or one jersey number. It's a glaring reminder of the long-standing disrespect women in sports, especially in the WNBA, are still forced to endure. It taps directly into the ongoing fight for fair pay, better working conditions, and real recognition for their excellence. Because when the most visible star in the sport is treated this way, it sends a loud, ugly message. It creates a ripple effect that reaches every locker room. It highlights the deep-rooted systemic issues that continue to plague women's basketball, even as the sport surges in popularity. The tense debates around the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement and the very real possibility of a lockout only add fuel to this fire. Players have been increasingly outspoken about feeling profoundly undervalued by team owners and governing bodies, pointing to a massive disconnect between their contributions and the respect they receive. So no, this number change fiasco isn't an isolated mistake. It is yet another data point in a long, frustrating pattern of undervaluing female athletes. And when Caitlin Clark, the biggest, brightest star in the entire sport, allegedly says enough, that message echoes across the entire league. It tells every other player watching, you don't have to accept disrespect, even when it comes wrapped in the name of a prestigious organization. Now, it's true that Caitlin isn't the only player associated with number 22. Aya Wilson, an all-time great and a respected veteran, also wears 22. So does rising star Cameron Brink, along with several other elite players. Naturally, this has sparked debates in the past about how high-profile athletes might handle sharing the same number in situations like All-Star games. But here's the crucial difference. Those conversations have always centered around mutual respect, about who might graciously defer if both players were present. What they were never about was an organization unilaterally stripping one of the biggest names in the sport of her signature number when no legitimate conflict exists. Last year, that hypothetical number clash between Clark and Wilson was avoided entirely when Clark sat out due to injury. That meant the scenario never had to be resolved. And yet now, for reasons no one can logically explain, USA Basketball seems to have preemptively solved a problem that doesn't actually exist by pushing Clark into a different number without any genuine need for such an extreme, controversial move. And they're learning very quickly that Caitlin Clark has no intention of accepting unnecessary compromises. Then the official USA Basketball training camp roster dropped, and the evidence was right there, in plain sight. Caitlin Clark, number 17. So that's the reality. Team USA forced Caitlin Clark to change her number. She allegedly threatened to walk away. And now Sue Bird is scrambling to clean up a mess that never needed to happen in the first place. What do you think Caitlin should do? Should she walk away, or should she compromise? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button, subscribe for more basketball drama, and buckle up, because this story is far from over. See you next time.